My cousin Jessica had always been the family princess. While I grew up in a trailer park with my single mom, Jessica lived in a mansion with her doctor father and socialite mother. The contrast was never subtle. Every family gathering was a reminder of our different worlds. Jessica wore designer clothes while I shopped at thrift stores. She went to private school while I attended the overcrowded public high school. She got a new car for her 16th birthday while I took the bus. Poor little Emily, my Aunt Margaret would say with fake sympathy. Such a shame her mother couldn't provide better for her. Jessica learned early to look down on me. In high school, when I got a job at McDonald's to help mom with bills, Jessica made sure everyone knew. Emily works in fast food. She'd announce at family parties. How quaint. When I got a full scholarship to State University, the family's reaction was mixed. They were surprised I was smart enough for college, but disappointed I was taking charity instead of earning my way like Jessica, who was attending an expensive private college paid for by her parents. Scholarship kids never really fit in at real universities, Aunt Margaret said. Emily should be grateful for any education she can get. I studied computer science while working 2 part-time jobs. Jessica majored in communications and spent her weekends at sorority parties. When I graduated summa cum laude, the family barely acknowledged it. When Jessica graduated with a C average, they threw her a huge celebration. After college, I moved to California and got a job at a tech startup. I lived quietly, worked hard, and avoided family gatherings as much as possible. The few times I visited home, I wore simple clothes and drove a modest Honda Civic. Jessica, meanwhile, married a wealthy banker and moved into an even bigger house. She became the family's success story, while I remained the poor cousin who moved away. Emily's doing something with computers, my mother would tell relatives. Nothing glamorous, but she seems to be managing okay. I never corrected the impression that I was barely getting by. It was easier than explaining my actual situation, and honestly, I enjoyed not being the center of family drama. Last spring, Jessica announced she was pregnant with her first child. The family was ecstatic. This would be the first grandchild for my Uncle Robert and Aunt Margaret, and they were already planning elaborate celebrations. The baby shower was scheduled for a Saturday in June. When the invitation arrived at my mother's house, Mom called me immediately. "Emily, honey, you need to see this invitation." She read it to me over the phone. Most of it was standard baby shower language: time, date, location, registry information. But at the bottom, in elegant script, was a line that made my stomach drop. "Please note, gifts should be appropriate for the occasion. No gifts from poor relatives. Please, we know you mean well, but we're trying to maintain a certain standard." I was stunned into silence. "Emily, are you there?" "Yeah, Mom. I'm here." "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I don't know what's gotten into Jessica." "It's fine. I wasn't planning to go anyway." But it wasn't fine. I've been excluded from family events before, but never so blatantly and never in writing. That Sunday, Mom attended the weekly family dinner at Uncle Robert's house. She called me afterward, upset. They were all laughing about the invitation, she said. Aunt Margaret said it was necessary to set boundaries, and Jessica said she didn't want discount store gifts ruining her baby's nursery theme. "What did you say?" "I defended you, of course. But Emily, they don't think you can afford anything nice. They think you're still struggling to pay off student loans and living paycheck to paycheck." I realized then that my family had no idea what my life actually looked like. The truth was, I've been extraordinarily successful. The tech startup I joined after college had been acquired by Google 3 years ago. My stock options had made me worth about $15 million. I now worked as a senior software architect at Google, making $380,000 a year plus bonuses. I owned a $2.3 million house in Palo Alto, drove a Tesla, and had an investment portfolio that would let me retire comfortably at 40 if I wanted to. I traveled internationally, ate at the best restaurants, and lived a life Jessica could only dream about. But I kept all of this private. I sent Mom money regularly, but asked her not to mention it to the family. When I visited home, I stayed in cheap hotels and kept my lifestyle low-key. I had no interest in showing off or dealing with sudden requests for loans from relatives who'd treated me poorly. So when Jessica's invitation arrived, my family genuinely believed I couldn't afford a decent baby gift. I decided not to attend the shower. Instead, I sent a card with a simple message. Congratulations on your pregnancy. Wishing you all the best. 3 weeks after the baby shower, my phone rang at 11 p.m. It was Jessica, sobbing hysterically. Emily, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I was confused. Jessica? What's wrong? I made a terrible mistake. The invitation, what I said about poor relatives. I didn't know. I had no idea. No idea about what? About your job, about your money, about who you really are. My blood ran cold. How did you find out about my job? Brad's company is trying to get a contract with Google. He was at a networking event last week and met someone from your team. When Brad mentioned he was from our hometown, the guy said, "Oh, you might know Emily Chun. She's one of our top architects. She's brilliant, and Google paid a fortune to keep her when Facebook tried to recruit her." I stayed silent, processing what she was telling me. Brad came home and asked me if I knew you. When I said you're my poor cousin who works with computers, he looked at me like I was insane. Emily, he looked you up. Your LinkedIn profile shows you're a senior software architect at Google. He found articles about the acquisition where your startup was mentioned. He estimated your net worth at over $10 million. Jessica was crying so hard she could barely speak. Emily, I told my richest friends not to invite their poor cousin because she might bring a cheap gift. And you're worth more than any of us. You're worth more than all of us combined. I finally understood why she was calling. Jessica, does the whole family know now? Brad told his parents. His parents told my parents. My parents told everyone. Emily, they're all freaking out. They're realizing they've been treating a multi-millionaire like a charity case for years. The irony was almost funny. And now you're worried I'm offended. Of course I'm worried. You could buy and sell our entire family. And we've been, oh God, the things we've said about you. What exactly are you afraid of, Jessica? I don't know. That you'll never speak to us again? That you'll think we're all idiots? Emily, my baby shower gift registry totaled maybe $3,000. You probably spend more than that on dinner. She wasn't wrong. I'd recently spent $4,000 on a single meal at a Michelin-starred restaurant in San Francisco. Jessica, I need to ask you something. Are you sorry about the invitation because it was cruel or because you found out I have money? There was a long pause. I both. Be honest. Dr. Chun, how did they know my title? Dean Morrison himself met us halfway down the aisle. He was a distinguished man in his 60s whom I'd spoken with several times about my research, but who had no reason to know about my personal life. Dr. Chun, he said warmly, loud enough for nearby families to hear. Thank you for joining us. We have a special seat reserved for you. He personally escorted me to the front row, right past David's family. Patricia's mouth fell open when she saw me being treated like an honored guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Morrison announced from the podium, before we conclude today's ceremony, I'd like to recognize some special guests who have made significant contributions to our medical school community. My heart started pounding. We're honored to have Dr. Sarah Chun with us today. Dr. Chun is the principal investigator on the largest infectious disease research grant in our university's history. Her groundbreaking work on antibiotic-resistant infections has saved countless lives and brought national recognition to our institution. The auditorium erupted in applause. David's face went completely white as he stared at me from the stage. Dr. Chun's research has been published in the New England Journal of Medicine, Nature, and The Lancet. She's been nominated for the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers, and her work is currently being used to develop new treatment protocols in hospitals nationwide. Patricia looked like she was going to faint. We're particularly proud that Dr. Chun chose to conduct her research here while supporting her husband through medical school. She embodies the spirit of sacrifice and dedication that makes our medical community strong. Dean Morrison gestured for me to stand. The entire auditorium gave me a standing ovation, including all the new doctors on stage. After the ceremony, Dean Morrison approached David's family directly. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, you must be so proud to have Dr. Chun as a daughter-in-law. Her research grant alone brought $15 million to our university. We're hoping to recruit her for department chair when the current position opens up. Robert's face was purple. Department chair? Oh yes, she's one of the most promising researchers in her field. We're lucky she chose our university over Johns Hopkins and Harvard. I believe they're still trying to recruit her. Patricia grabbed my arm as people began leaving the auditorium. Why didn't you tell us you were a doctor? You never asked what I did. You just assumed. But you said you were a research assistant. I am. I assist with research. I just happen to lead the research I assist with. David appeared at my side, still in shock. Sarah, Dr. Chun, why didn't you tell me? Would you have loved me the same way if you'd known I made more money than your parents? He stared at me for a long moment, then smiled. You mean you could have been supporting us in luxury this whole time, and instead you let me live on ramen noodles? I wanted you to achieve your dreams because you believed in them, not because you felt financially secure. He pulled me into his arms right there in front of his family. I love you. Dr. Chun, or research assistant, I love you. 6 months later, David started his residency. We moved into a beautiful house that I bought with my research bonuses. David's parents suddenly became very interested in having family dinners and getting to know me better. We always knew you were special, Patricia said during one particularly awkward reconciliation attempt. No, you didn't. You thought I was a burden. We were just protective of David's future. David's future is bright because he worked for it. My job was just to make sure he had the space to do that work. Last month, I received the Presidential Early Career Award that Dean Morrison had mentioned. The ceremony was in Washington, D.C., and the president personally congratulated me on my contributions to public health. David's parents attended, bragging to anyone who would listen about their brilliant daughter-in-law, the award-winning scientist. But the best moment came when David introduced me to his new colleagues at the hospital. This is my wife, Dr. Sarah Chun. She's the reason I'm here. What did she do? She believed in me when no one else did. And she taught me that the most important thing in a marriage isn't what you bring to the table financially. It's what you're willing to sacrifice for each other's dreams. His parents still invite me to their social events now, eager to show off their connection to a presidential award winner. But I've learned something important about family. The people who love you when you're nobody are the only ones worth celebrating with when you're somebody. And the people who try to exclude you from the most important moments are the ones who never deserve to be part of your story in the first place.